Episode number 12 of the Shock Show. We are going strong 12 days straight. My name is Dr. Shakani. You are joining me for daily videos, daily content on ultrasonic device characterization, analysis, just getting your head wrapped around things and a good understanding of the subject in a bit more detail than just specifically toward a specific applications. I'm trying to kind of convey to you knowledge about piezo ceramics, which are also often thought about as a black box engine in ultrasonic devices. I'm opening up with that black box, I'm showing all the parts, and it works beautifully, and you are able to actually understand the thing. It's not more complicated than it looks. So today's question is, how do I interpret the second mode of a planar radial resonator? And I'll nuance this, and the person asking a question was asking something very specific for their specific scenario, and I will actually get into that in tomorrow's video. But for today, on episode number 12, we are going to talk more generally about the radial resonator, or the planar resonator as it's actually called, and we are going to also say what's the significance of these different modes. So again, I'll go over the general answer today. That's upside down, and I'll also talk about the person's specific question tomorrow, which is regarding a specific radial or planar resonator with a lower aspect ratio than desirable. First question I really want to tell you: why are planar resonators so great? They're so great. I have one right here. I can get one out from this box, and I like to show things once in a while. Okay, so we got a planar resonator right here. This is actually for ultrasonic cleaning. But why planar resonators so great is because it's really easy to get a nice aspect ratio, and there's no pesky corners. The pesky corners really mess up the resonance response, especially at high frequencies. So if you're trying to measure a thickness mode and some type of length or expanding mode along the 1 or 2 direction for like a flat plate, those corners, the multiple modes regarding the width and the length are really going to interact with each other, and then also it'll interact and not allow you to get a good thickness mode. So from this sample itself, you can calculate the thickness mode resonance, because there's not going to be as many interfering modes due to the lack of corners. Kind of there's symmetry here, and also it's really quite easy to get analyze the radial resonance as well, in order to get the compliance as well as the Poisson's ratio of expanding of strain in a planar resonating form, where you have like one infinitesimal point here, and it's expanding outward. So you get a square material, it's kind of going outward like this. So it's both stretching longitudinally and also stretching away from the neighbor in a radial or planar form. So that's why they're so great, because it's really easy to extract material properties. There's not that poor interaction between, and also thickness mode is pure, because if you have a rectangular sample, then there's like a width mode there, and there's a length mode. So the length is usually pretty solid to interpret and analyze, but the width mode is not interpretable, as well as the thickness can also have significant interference from those other modes. So planar, gotta love these. This is what you want to make. If you're gonna make one sample to characterize your material, you made a new piezo material, you're fabricating something, you want to create a disc. But analysis of a disc is not as easy as a rectangular sample. There's a couple of caveats, but they're all very well theoretically grounded, and I can explain them. And I'll start by doing some of it here. And if you are interested in more information about the planar resonator, send something in the comments. Let me know you want to hear it, because then I'll give it. And also just send me an email as well. That could be another way. But definitely want to hear from you in the comments if you want to know how to calculate properties from this. There are documented methods, but they are a little bit archaic and challenging to interpret as well. And also to know if you're doing it right or wrong. So gotta love planar resonators. So they go by KP. So Kp right here, that's what uses the coupling factor of the planar resonator. It's higher than the transverse mode, K31, for example. So we have this disc, and it's resonating in a planar format, as I like to say again and again, radially. And we have multiple resonant modes, and they occur in odd numbers because of the symmetry of the device. You won't see an even harmonic. You'll see the first at a given frequency, and you'll see something around the third, but it won't be exactly 3 times higher. And there's so much magic in this because there's an extra mechanical contribution to your planar resonator that doesn't happen in a rectangular shape. In a rectangular shape, you are really, and let's just take this piece of paper here and assume this is the piezo, and let's say it's a rectangular shape. So in a rectangular format, you are very much highlighting the stiffness or the compliance along this direction. Let's say this is the thickness and this is the length. So you're really highlighting that. But in this case, you have two mechanical properties at play, both that longitudinal or transverse compliance, the S11, and also S12, which is going to dictate the Poisson's ratio as two points or stretch in different directions on your material. So the planar resonator, you have to take into account actually that third resonant mode, which is going to, the ratio between the first and second resonant mode can be derived. This equal sign is not correct. Who put that equal signs there? Somebody broke into my office and wrote an equal sign. This should be, let's correct this live here for everybody, because they're all wondering. There should be a parentheses right there, not an equal sign. Scratch that. So basically the Poisson's ratio between the 1 and 2 directions are related to the first and third resonant modes. You can find the information on this in the IEEE Standard on Piezoelectricity, but if you want to know the facts from me, which are going to be the same but interpreted such that you can actually use it more easily instead of digging through 100 pages or 50 pages of stuff you feel is only not relevant for PZT material analysis and weeding your way all the way through it. If you want to hear it from me, let me know in the comments. I want to hear you guys. I want to hear you guys on the comments. So the ratio between those two can be used to calculate the Poisson's ratio, not the Poisson's ratio between the thickness and the transverse direction, but one transverse direction and the other. So isotropic materials only have one Poisson's ratio. Anisotropic materials will have 2 in this case, regarding sort of longitudinal or perpendicular vibration, or for perpendicular, I guess, stretch or strain, right? That'd be the better word for it. So the IEEE standard on piezoelectricity does document how these ratios relate to the Poisson's ratio. So once you have once you're able to do this, you'll then be able to calculate S11 that you would normally do from your length, your rectangular bar, and then you also have another ratio, the Poisson's ratio, so you get an additional factor from this analysis. So this is how you interpret the first and the third, the next occurring harmonic in this sequence. So next time we're going to go over this question. I'm just going to briefly introduce it. What if you had a sample of this geometry, 8 millimeters diameter and 3 millimeters thickness? Now the diameter and the thickness are getting kind of similar. They're getting pretty similar in size. And how do we interpret? Without let's say without doing a finite element analysis, because I'm not going to do that here, but without doing finite element analysis, how can we look at these modes and understand what is more, is it radial, is it thickness, what kind of, because you see these, the third resonant mode is going to be similar. So the first mode that the person who's asking the question was measured at 250 kilohertz, and the second was measured at 620. And we see there, we might expect that the thickness mode would be similar. So I'm going to finish answering the person's specific question tomorrow. So this was the shock show, or the Piezo Shock Show, and my name is Dr. Shakani. Leave comments and questions, share these videos, ask questions either through the comments through email, send me a message on LinkedIn. I look forward to hearing those questions. And by the way, I also run a consulting company for ultrasonic product development. So if you are interested in my services in those areas, please visit my website, ultrasonicadvisors.com, or just plain reach out to me, say, hey, what's up? All right, take care. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video where we talk about that specific question.